Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. We are here in the Northern Hemisphere in the early stages of autumn and I have just the perfect fabric to make a season appropriate skirt out of it. So this fabric I bought a year ago in Fukuoka in Japan, and this one is a heavyweight linen but it also has a little bit of stretch, so I thought that this might be the perfect fabric for a straight skirt that also doesn't have any restrictions when you're walking, since you have that little bit amount of stretch. As an inspiration for this fabric and for the project, I had some images that wear these straight skirts that have usually a high waist and a front slit, so I would like to recreate something like the images that I had in my mind. So let's start with the project and draft the pattern for the skirt. I pulled out my straight skirt prototype and I checked how deep I want the waistband to be. From there I measured the depth of the fly front and the slit. To make my life a bit easier while tracing the pattern, I marked the measurements on my block directly. Then I traced the back piece and constructed the waistband. The back pattern of my block has a center back seam, but I will cut my piece on the fold and I removed the seam allowance. For the front pattern piece, I added the fly and the slit overlap to my center front seam and drafted the waistband as well. I almost forgot to draft the pocket for the skirt, but luckily I noticed it before I cut into the fabric. I found slanted pockets to be a good match for the skirt and drafted it directly on the front pattern. I checked how deep the pocket has to be and sketched the rough outlines and seam allowance. And here I see why my pocket is just a bit too small. I forgot to trace the seam allowance at the pocket opening. Well, next time. When I cut out the front piece, I made sure I got my pattern matching correct to have the illusion of one piece. To achieve this, I marked the seam allowance on the front and ironed it to the inside. Then I checked where the fabric has the pattern repeat and laid the front piece as a reference on top. Aligning the second front piece became then much easier. I thought about a similar process for the pockets, but realized that it's not really necessary since I only have a little piece that would be visible. The pocket lining that will be visible is cut out from two pieces, the smaller one in the main fabric and the larger inside pocket from a black and white polka dot lightweight cotton fabric. I thought this might be a better option than adding bulk with the heavier linen fabric, and also adds a nice detail. For the waistband, I checked that the pieces match roughly the skirt pieces and cut out everything. One detail I wanted to have are white belt loops. I used some of the offcuts to cut them out as well. Before I started sewing, I prepared the pattern pieces. First, the fly guard for the zipper. Both sides are pinned right sides together. Here you see only a rectangle because I found it easier to mark the seam allowance directly on the fabric and form the curve from there. Then I pinned all my belt loops right sides together as well. On both skirt fronts, I interfaced the area where the zipper would be attached. Lastly, I pinned the darts in place. I started sewing the darts on my pockets as well as the front and back skirt pieces before moving to the fly guard and the belt loops. I trimmed the seam allowance back and turned the loops right sides out. For the fly guard, I clipped the curve to prevent any bulk in the area. The pocket lining was attached then to the front pieces and the other to the little triangular main fabric. With the pocket linings finished, I attached both pieces to the front and sewed the pocket in place. Next step is the zipper. To make my life easier, I ironed the seam allowance, the fly and slit overlap into the inside of the skirt. The crease helped me pin both sides together and gave me a visual line to follow while sewing the area after the fly and before the slit. I prepared the zipper and attached it to the left side of the front and sewed it in place. With a few pins, I secured the right sides temporarily over the zipper and turned the front piece. On the back side, I pinned the zipper to the fly overlap and removed the front pins. When you sew the zipper to the fly this way, you don't have any visible seams at the front. Then I marked the fly curve on the front and top stitched it. The last step was the fly guard. This is attached to the zipper band of the left side. At this step, I as well finished the front slit by top stitching the opening in place. Later though, I unpicked this and closed the slit just a little bit more. Before I move to the side seams, I close the lower area of the side pocket. This way nothing will fall out. The last step was the waistband. I pinned the sides for both waistbands together and attached the outer one to the right side of the skirt. The first mistake I made, I forgot to attach the belt loops, so I opened the seams where I inserted the loops and sewed the waistband again. While I prepared my inner waistband, I realized my second mistake. I should have interfaced the inner waistband. After pressing the lower edge up, I also added some interfacing to proceed. Then I pinned the waistband's right sides together and sewed it in place. Then it was time for one last round of pressing. I pressed the waistband and pinned the inner one to the edge. This seam will be closed later by hand to avoid any visible stitches on the right sides. And while I was pressing happily, I also finished the hem by pressing it up once. Usually I fold it over twice, but since the fabric is on the heavier side, I decided to overlock the edge and fold it up only once. The last step at the machine was the hem. As I mentioned earlier, I found the initial slit too high and I closed the seam a bit more. Top stitching the hem then involved the slit portion as well, and I sewed everything in one go. With the skirt almost finished, it was time to sit down and sew the waistband and snap by hand. Here we have the finished skirt. I'm extremely happy with the skirt and I wore it several times with my DRK Everyday sweater over the last week. I had concerns about the fabric over tights, but it is not too clingy and I think I will be able to wear the skirt even in the winter time. One of my favorites is the little pocket detail with the polka dot fabric. Even some friends mentioned it to me as well, and that made me very happy. Overall, I definitely achieved the look that I was going for with my inspiration pictures. hope you enjoyed my autumnal skirt project. Are you sewing something for the colder months ahead? I would love to hear what you are sewing or what you are crafting. I hope you enjoyed this little video and I wish you a very cozy and spooky October, and I will see you in my next video. Happy crafting and take care. Bye bye.